Hello guys, welcome back to this playlist, the final episode now, bonus episode where I reveal the full rankings of the Pokemon Gen 1 randomiser Monotype series. Throughout each episode I've been updating the leaderboard in the description below, but we'll just see the final lineups and I'll talk a bit about each run, where it went good, where it went bad. Hope you enjoyed the series, I should say. From the off, I've had a blast doing this. It's the second time I've done this, a time when right from the off, the first episode, like, me route was kind of like already honed through the last time I did this. So I think it felt like every type had a fighting chance. And we're just going to be talking through very briefly where every run had its strengths and its weaknesses and revealing the final rankings. As you can see, I made little notes to the side of the vast majority of these, not all of them. Just something that was notable about the run and slowed it down. So in 15th place, last, we had Rock, run by Brock. I kind of expected this. Rock, a lot of Rock types are Rock Ground, or almost all of them. In fact, all of them are dual type, so they have multiple weaknesses. We started off with Rhydon. I think that did have an Earthquake that worked, but I feel like it was about it. We couldn't hit stuff. So then we main switched Stormanite, ended up with an Omastar, but that was kind of trash for a while as well. I feel like we got really bad movesets in this one. The rival, Cloyster, was a nightmare. I really did well picking the rival this time. They really did fuck me. And we basically had to run that duo until Cerulean when Omanyte started picking up moves. And eventually, once I got to Omastar, it just sped up. It was a really good run actually, about the last hour. The first hour and a half was a fucking nightmare. It took us about an hour and a half just to even get to like Vermilion, I think, and it really hurt this run. There's basically no way back then. But the last hour kind of saved the time, respectable. At first I was thinking it was going to go over 3 hours. But the total time in this run was 2 hours 28 minutes. The in-game time was 2 hours 7 minutes. Both of them were the longest by considerable distance. Next up, I'm just going to start like opening this up a bit. Thought it'd be best to do this to like reveal. We'll move up. Next, in 14th, quite a surprise really, we had Water. Water twice in a row really struggled. Twice in a row ended up main in Starmie. And twice in a row main switch late. This was the latest main switch, as I've noted there, outside Moon, and that's worth noting. Because it just left me playing catch up, and it wasted a bit of time. I got Starmie outside Moon, at something like level 6. I had a shell there. I actually did find a Waterstone and got a Cloyster. And I think it was lucky because I'm sure Brock had something where there's no way to go through it with a shell there. I think Brock was tough in this run. I didn't make a note of that, but I seem to recall. Our Psychic attacks didn't work on Starmie. Starmie was the one that beat DB4 at the lowest level. In fact, joint lowest it was. Arrival was Zapdos, which was obviously tough to deal with. And all them factors, the fact that Psybeam and Psychic didn't work, resulted in a time of 2 hours 10 minutes 50 seconds. So it did finish 14th, but it was way ahead of last place. Last was last by a distance. The in-game time as well was 1 hour 55:46. Every other time, aside from Brock, the in-game time was sub 2 hours. But this was the second worst in-game time and the second worst total time. Although it wasn't far off Giovanni's ground run in terms of total time. That was 40 seconds faster in total time. But the in-game time was like 9 minutes faster. There were a few factors to this one. We started with Sandshrew, by the way. We mained Sandshrew and Sandslash. We never changed. And the rival was Erica for Tango, which had high defense and was obviously grass type, so that was a good rival to pick. Some of the notes on here, though, we lost 10 minutes plus finding HM Slave, because that was fucking nightmare. I did manage to get one before I took cut, I think. And Lance had a Mewtwo Moltres, which slowed us down. I think one of them was like first out, couldn't really sell. At that point, it was looking like we could maybe beat the next run. Brock also won me 5+ minutes. Don't really remember what I had, but there's the notes. And it slowed down that run a bit. Now, next run is a perfect example here. Next couple, actually. Our in-game time was actually better than the next 2 runs, but our total time was much worse. Obviously, total time is like when you reload in 3 fights you've lost. So, actually, like, in-game, we managed it quicker. Obviously played pretty well, but we didn't really get too close to finishing 12th. In at 12th place was the normal Whitney's run. One of the first runs it did, if not It's the second one I did. Yeah, it wasn't the first. We started off Jigglypuff, which arguably the worst starter I had in this whole thing. God, it was shit. It started with one move as well, I think. So it like forced me hand into main switch. Oh, it's probably main switched anyway, but I went looking, did find a Dodrio, and was quite hyped. Found it quite early, like the first route to the west of Viridian. But its flying attacks didn't work. It's Drill Peck, and I feel like this was probably the run, if I remember. It's probably the worst moveset I had, save one run, which I'll get to in a bit. Rival was Chucks Machamp. Again, we would have been super effective against it, actually, if Drill Peck worked, which I started with, but it was typeless, and we didn't get stab bonus. I'm sure the power's nerfed as well. It just nerfs it to the ground. It's just a bug in Gen 1. Speed choice, unfortunately. We have to do speed choice because it's so much faster, like walking and etc. But it really hurt this run. Ordinarily good Pokemon Dodrio. We beat Dilly4 at level 53, the same as Sandshrew, Sunslash, and 1 lower than Omanite and Omastar, 5 higher than Stormy. But total time was 2 hours 6 minutes 26 seconds. It was kind of on its own, really, in that it was 4 minutes faster than Giovanni, but considerably slower than the next run in terms of total time. The in-game time was 1 hour 48 minutes 46 seconds, actually slower than Giovanni's run with Sandslash. However, not a great deal slower than the next run above it. In at 11th place, we had Dragon, the last one that I did. This is actually really overachieved. I feel like this is one of the ones I actually played best in. It's just we were always up against it because we started with Dratini, which wasn't great on paper. Definitely, like, when you're starting with a pre-evolution, you notice it as opposed to starting with a fully evolved beast. However, it actually did way better than I thought it would. This whole run did. I feel like our RNG was decent. It could have been better. If I'd have found a dragon, like, really early, like Dragonite, we could have beat it, actually. Could have maybe finished first. But it didn't have to teach a HM to it. We got Thunder early to deal with the Articuno. And yeah, it was never really a threat after that, actually. We kind of just brushed it aside. We did have to backtrack a bit, because eventually I got info by leveling up to the Dragonair on where that was, and I had to backtrack a bit. Then actually fought Erica before Surge, I think, for the only time. But anyway, the total time, it was way ahead, as you can see, of 12th place by almost 10 minutes. It was 1 hour 57 minutes 59 seconds. We're getting into sub 2 hour territory now, guys. Everyone from here, of course, is sub 2 hours. The in-game time, though, was only 37 seconds faster than the normal time. The fact that these two are so close gives an indication of how well the Pokemon fared, actually. I didn't have to reload too much. There were a few times I got walled, though. Against Brock, it took me a while. I had to level up a bit to get past Alakazam to be able to tank one of its psychic attacks. Also, Rival and Cerulean stopped me in my tracks a bit because he had a really good team. We had like an Arcanine, a Kadabra that outspared me until I got to a certain level. But once I got through Cerulean, got the TMs, as is often the case in these runs, to be fair, just sped up a lot. We beat this one at level 50, which is an indication of just how many times I like purposely wiped and got XP, because we had a Pokemon from the start that's in the slow evolution set. And of all the Pokemon that I started with that were in the slow evolution, like slow level up brackets, this was the highest level, beating it before, level 50. I done make really late Avos faster, so that's basically just Ride Home, Ride On, Ponytail, Rapidash. Anything that evolves after level 40, you made it faster. So we actually got a Dragonite at level 40, which obviously helped. But Dratini and Dragonair were doing admirably at that point. They were faring well. And in the end, I feel like this was, like I said, a time that on another day could have been much better, but it could have been so much worse. I expected this run to finish last. I didn't think we'd get a HM bit. But it didn't quite make top 10. And it was in the top of the bottom third, I feel like. Just about making top 10. Literally by 8 seconds. It's probably the closest time difference. 8 seconds it beat it by in terms of total time. Was Grass, Erica's run, right here. Although the in-game time, you can see, interestingly guys, was almost 10 minutes faster. So you can tell this run was quite unlucky, and I've put on there, well, I've mixed luck. This one was notable. I had the worst accuracy, in my opinion, on my moveset. I can't remember what I had, it was a while ago. I've done many runs since, can't remember every detail. But I remember noting straight away, well, that accuracy was turd. I think it was Bone Club Academy, something like that. The encounter RNG as well, I've made a note was the worst, so I imagine we just run into a lot of shit in Moon, which slowed us down. But I did note that the easiest to leave 4, and I never did update that in runs afterwards, so yeah, I must have just breezed to leave 4. This was Erica's run, of course. We started with Gloom, then mained Gloom Vile Plume, so I would have had Gloom until Celadon, where I got a Leaf Stone, and then I got me Vile Plume. Could do leave 4 at level 54, which is quite a late level for this. During highest level we've seen so far, the rival was Blaine's Moltres, which again was one of the best rivals in the It's a Legendary Bird. So yeah, 20-minute gap between in-game time and total time. To be fair, we must have reloaded a lot. But I didn't make a note that I'd like fucked up a reload and sent myself back, so I don't know what happened there. Another one that was really close. We had 3 runs that were an hour 57. Beating the total time by 39 seconds. In at 9th place was Gengar's Ghost Run. Now, Gengar we'll see again on this list. Very good Pokemon. One of the best we started with for sure. I love Gengar. It's a beast. The fact that special start is 1 stat in this game really helps it, along with like Alakazam. It did beat Tilly 4 at the highest level though, level 56. The rival was Giovanni's Rhydon, which I don't think it was ever a threat once I got like a special move, to be fair. I could have maybe picked a better rival, but Ghosts is barely weak to anything in this gen, so it's fair. You know, this is the point. It's seeing like the best types, etc. So yeah, Multi's run 157.12. In-game time was actually slower than the grass run. And if you go all the way down, I mean, it was only 6 minutes faster than Giovanni's ground run in terms of in-game time. Total time of 157.12. The most notable facet of this, though, which is why Gengar struggled, the fact that a starter and main in Gengar is that it's the only run that I caught no Pokemon. I did not, because the starter Gengar worked against me, I didn't get info on Ghastly or Haunter, and I didn't see one on a trainer all run, I think. Not once. I think at the end of it I had to go in a log file and see where the fuck they were. It did turn out actually, the Ghastly was Old Rod, so I could have fucking saved that. But we put an all HM moveset on it, which left me with 3 physical moves and only Surf as a special move, which completely played against my strengths and just slowed it down. I don't know why this is so much extra as well. So many times I kept running into optionals, seeing their first Pokemon, or maybe just fighting them, trying to get info desperately on Ghastly and Haunter. So that probably wasted like 10 minutes, and it was futile in the end, because we never did find one. And then obviously putting that all HM moveset and it slowed it down. Because trust me, on another day, Gengar starting this as a main. If we'd have found Ghastly in the first route, I feel like we'd have been right in with a shout of finishing first. It was really unfortunate that run. That was just a run of frustration, that one. But I did finish 9th, unfortunately. In at 8th, guys, we have Bug, which did very, very well, all things considered. The in-game time was only 9 seconds faster than Gengar's, actually. And, curiously, slower than, again, Erica's, which is 1:38.50. But the total time was much, much better. It was way ahead of Ghost. Not quite making the top half, but it was easily the best of the bottom half. Total time of 1:51, bang on. In-game time 1:40.18. Our starter and main was Butterfree. I think, I don't remember what I found as a HM bitch, but I obviously found one. The rival was Falconer's Aerodactyl, which was, its flying moves didn't actually work, but we were quite weak to rock. Thankfully, just never seemed to use that, but I do seem to recall Aerodactyl was awkward. It did slow me down a lot in this run, I think. Bug definitely did better than I expected, as I said. I felt like it was going to be probably bottom 3. But it did the exact same last time. Finished like mid-table, surprised me. Once again, it did it. Last time I did this, I had Venomoth, which is much better than Butterfree. But Butterfree did work, man. It did so well. Exceeded my expectations. One thing I do remember about this run, actually, I would say we probably had the best moveset early. Like, before you even get to Celadon, we had a dynamite moveset. It was really good, and it helped carry us through. However, one thing to add for this run, which gives it even more credit, is that it's the only run where it did not get a drink item. I had to go through Rock Tunnel. And that adds about, well, 5 to 10 minutes, easy. Because you have to go through the tunnel itself, which is about an extra 4 battles. Well, there's trainers on the way as well. And also there's the fact that it gets me straight on Lavender, and I have to kind of go directly across, and we can't get to the Mart. So it's a good job we did have a good moveset. So all things considered, you know, at the end of this, I'm going to see all the times, and I'm going to kind of like rank them in my opinion, how they were. Bug deserves to be higher than 8th, I think. If you take 10 minutes off, it shoots up. You'll see in a minute. But Elastic did finish 8th. Unfortunate, man. Yeah, it was a case of what might have been. It would have been one of the best times, honestly, if we'd got a drink. But it didn't make top half. Just about making top half. Bug was pretty much in the centre, actually, yeah. So 7 runs slower, 7 runs faster. But in that 7th, beating the total time by only 2.5 minutes, we definitely would have done worse if Bug didn't have to go for Rock Tunnel. We had Fighting. Fighting finished last time. Did much better this time. Last time I had a Hitmonlee, which is actually really good. But we got Brock had like a Mew, something so it just fucked us. We did have a really unlucky start here. I mean, we started with a really good Pokemon. We also mained it. Poliwrath beat DD4 at level 52. Our rival was a Mew. Sabrina had one. Yeah, the total time was 1 hour 48 minutes 35 seconds. In-game time, much better than anything we've seen before though. 1:29:57, really good. So 19 minutes extra. You can tell how often we had to like reload fights. But we actually like sped through the game pretty quickly when we were killing shit. We were obviously one-shotting a lot of stuff. Jump kick did not work though, and I started with 4 water moves, which could have, I think ultimately actually didn't wall me anywhere near as much as it could. I had a lot of luck in that up until Brock and beating Brock, I got through. I didn't run into anything like, I don't know, a Lapras, where it took me fucking ages with a full water moveset. So that was fortunate. Beat Elite 4 at level 52 by the way, and Jump Kick did not work. Its fighting type didn't actually work, so we couldn't take advantage of that, which held it back a bit. Yeah, it was a really weird one. The fact that it's only 2.5 minutes had a Bug. But the in-game time was much better, but obviously, like I said, Bug went through Rock Tunnel, so it actually ranked Bug ahead of this. But Fighting did well. It atoned for an awful run last time, where it did finish last in about fucking 2 hours 55. It saved like an hour. In at number 6, guys, getting towards the top end now, we had the first run it did, Poison by Koga. We started with Ghastly, which was really good. Like, obviously, it could have been better if I started with like Gengar. I don't think we'd have suffered as much like we did in Ghost, starting with Gengar, because finding a poison Pokemon's easy. It's the most common type in the game. They're fucking everywhere. And obviously we got a HM bitch really early. We mained the whole evolutionary line, so we actually did evolve it all the way up, just like the Dratini line. It's the only line where I evolved twice. I changed the possible Evo, so it was possible to get Gengar at level 37, I think, so we got it pretty late. But we actually, like the other Gengar run, it was tied for the highest level. We beat Dilly 4 at 56. This whole line's in a fast evolutionary line. We mained from the off, so we didn't miss out on any XP. So that contributed towards that. Yeah, you see the curiosities here, by the way. In that it was full minute, 3 seconds out of fighting. 1:47:32 total time to 1:48:35. But in-game time of fighting was 1:29:57. This one was 1:40:08. Like, it was actually slower in-game than Bam all the way down here. Erica's Grass, 1:38:50. That total time was 10 minutes, 19 seconds worse though from Erica's run. So again, this is an indication of just how little we actually have to reload for fights. I must have barely got walled. Even with Sabrina having a Mewtwo, this was obviously the hardest rival as well, it's worth noting. And it is worth noting that even though I said I'd kind of honed in my run going into this whole thing, I hadn't really it was my first run, so obviously it was going to be at a disadvantage to every other run where I'd learned from mistakes. I'd streamlined it just a touch more. Like this run, for example, I don't think I went and got X items for Elite 4, and we still got through in a really good time, finished 6th. Didn't quite make top 5, which would be the top third of runs, but still a really good run for first go. In at 5th though, guys, and you see arguably the biggest jump here for, well, since like bottom 2. Fire full 13 minutes and 5 seconds ahead. We're getting into the territory of like the insane runs now. All 5 of these runs were unbelievable. It was Blaine's run, of course, with Fire. We started with Ponyta, but found a Charizard really early and main switched and beat Dilly 4 at level 54. The rival was Misty with Omastarge, quad resisted Fire, so it was a good rival. But I don't think it caused me too many problems, if I recall. Yeah, it was just a huge gap. I mean, in-game time, 1:25:15 was actually only 4 minutes faster than fighting. But the total time is a whole 14 minutes faster and 13 minutes faster than anything else we've seen so far. And also, just like Bug, there's a thing worth considering here. I reloaded a save state at one point. It cost me about 5 minutes. I obviously travelled for 5 minutes, not save state, got into a fight, lost it, reloaded, thinking I'd just save stated. And it sent me back. I had to do like an extra fight. I think it sent me back and I had to fight Surge again. Then I had to like get up to Erica, something like that. I had to like get Fly again. So basically you can shave off 5 minutes of that if I hadn't just fucked up. Made this run even better. But it did finish in 5th, which is very admirable. But it did actually drop down. I think Fire finished 3rd last time. Again, I had a Charizard that time. But I actually think I started Charmeleon on that occasion, just kind of leveled it up. But anyway, it did really well. Made the top 3rd, if you like. Next run shaves off. To be fair, I'm like, shave off 5 minutes of Charizard time, but it would only just be this run. Maybe that 4 minutes was about the time I lost, don't know. But in the 4th place, we had Ice, the price run. Ice did not so well last time, I think. But this time I did really well. We started with an Articuno, which is very lucky. And we mained it. We beat Dilly 4 at level 49, which is the 2nd lowest we've seen so far. Rival was Blame with a Magmar, which was never too much of a threat. I think I had Earthquake or something. 4 minutes, almost. Lower, and easily the lowest in-game time so far by about 3 minutes 2 seconds. The in-game time was faster than Fire. Like I said, the reload saves they cost me, but that wouldn't have actually counted for in-game time, to be fair. So like we'd have still been ahead of Charizard in that regard. This run, as you can see in the notes, it could have won. It was probably the best I've played to that point, and it was the most unfortunate RNG in terms of I got to Elite 4 an hour 10 minutes in, which is ridiculous. That is ridiculous pace. 70 minutes it took me to get to Elite 4. But that took me 20 minutes. It was the hardest Elite 4. I don't quite remember exactly what they had. I think there was a Mewtwo here and there, a couple of legendary birds. Just a lot of shit that just walled me. After another run that we're going to see in a bit, I purposely missed out Excitons there and the Martyr thing to save time. That saves like 2 or 3 minutes. And I just went at the Elite 4, and in the end, yeah, I guess you could say that was obviously a mistake as well, which contributed to that hardest Elite 4, but I feel like it had been the hardest Elite 4 anyway. It was really rough. It was not an Elite 4 to miss out on Excitons for. I still managed to get through it, like fucking 10-15 levels lower than some of the hardest Pokemon there. Which gives an indication of just how much of a beast Articuno is, and was, in this whole series, really. Yeah, this was definitely a case of what might have been. Would I have beat Elite 4? Would I have come first if I beat Elite 4, like, swept through them? Maybe. It'd have still been close. You'll see why in a minute. Moving up to the top 3, guys, the podium. Out of 15 types, they did very well to finish top 3. Getting the bronze medal is Electric. It's about a middle run I did, or like one of the early runs I did. It was really, really good. Smashed the total time of Ice by 6.5 minutes, bang on. The in-game time was about 2.5 minutes faster. We started on mained with Electables. We beat Dilly 4 at level 53. Giovanni was the rival, of course, obviously. We give him a Golem. Which wasn't too much of a threat once I got like another special move. Oh, move that down. One thing to note here is that we started with 2 electric moves only. So we actually got insanely lucky that up until Brock, I imagine, this TM was probably something that let me hit ground Pokemon, but if I'd have run into ground Pokemon early, this run might have finished like way further down, if not last. I'd have ended up having to waste me PP and wet, and then you struggle. So that factor was massive, and it would have slowed me down anyway, to be fair, just having 2 electric moves, in terms of like our final time, but wow, was it a good time. In-game time was sub 80 minutes, total time 84 minutes. That is insane to go to champion. Electabuzz did really well. It's a fast Pokemon, a really good special attack, and special is the way to go, quite clearly on this. You know, fire, ice, electric, you've seen so far, top 5, they're all special. It did really well. Didn't quite make silver place though. Well, second place. Taking the silver was the champion from last time, Sabrina. It did lead for a while. It was one of the earliest runs I did. It wasn't like third or fourth run that I did, and it was a time that I never thought would be beaten. Obviously, it was beaten. Insane time. 3 minutes almost faster than electric. Total time of 1 hour 21 minutes 28 seconds. Here, for perspective before this, I'll show you in a bit, guys. The fastest run I did last series would have finished 6th here, 1 hour 43. We shaved like 20 odd minutes off. The in-game time was 1 hour 16:51. Again, about 3 minutes faster than Electabuzz. We started with Mew, which ordinarily I'd have thought, well, yeah, we'll definitely run this. And I think I looked at the log at the end, and it would have learned like Psybeam or something at level 10, so it may actually have been faster to run the Mew if it had just got it to level 10. But it started with one move, and it was Thrash, I think, which locks you in. Mew's also balanced completely through stats. It's one of the highest BSTs, but there's Pokemon with like much higher attack or much higher defense or much higher whatever you want to look at it. Mew's just completely like solid like 8s across the board, but no 10s out of 10s. Do you know what I mean? So we main switched to Alakazam, which was obviously like an absolute beast. Beat Dilly for same level as Electabuzz, level 53. The rival's Morty's Gengar, by the way, which we were super effective against as well, but that's the nature of the Monotype. Psychic's only weak to Bug, but most of them are Poison and shit Bug moves in this anyway, so I always knew Psychic could do well. It was the champion last time. It won last time by about 4 minutes. And it did set the pace. Sabrina can be proud of that run, taking gold and silver. Definitely like the best type on average across these 2 runs. It's no contest. Fire'd probably be second there, I'd say. Yeah, like I thought there's no way this would be beaten, and then we did the electric run like immediately after. I think it was the next run, and it came within about 3 minutes of it, and I thought, you know what, maybe then, maybe. Well, it was beaten by a 4 minute bang on. There we go. Flying won. Flying was the champion. I cannot believe it. Flying did one of the worst last time. But actually, when I say I cannot believe it, well, yeah, believe it. Like, you think Flying is probably the type with the best possible Pokemon we could have run in it. You have Dragonite, Gyarados, Aerodactyl, Charizard, Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, Dodrio, Pidgeot. There's a lot of good flying Pokemon. We did start and main with Articuno twice in this run. It also finished 4th. It finished 1st and 4th, so like I think the MVP of this run is quite clearly Articuno. It did work. Although it didn't do much as a rival in the last run it did for Dragon, but it did well. Like it was the joint lowest. We beat Dilifora along with Starmie at level 48. The other Articuno, for context, beat Dilifora at level 49. It took 10 minutes longer. Although that had a 20-minute Elite 4. Which is why I was thinking, like, would it finish first? Would have had to go through 5 fights with the Ice Run Articuno in 10 minutes. I doubt we'd have done that anyway. But maybe. This total time, though, was insane. 80 minutes, 28 seconds. In-game time was actually slower, though. The fastest in-game time was Psych, which took 1:16:51. This one took 1:17:32. But again, like, this is actually like the, let me check. Yeah, I think this was the narrowest window between total time and in-game time. So also, yeah, barely had to reload. It just destroyed everything. The rival was probably the worst rival we had, to be fair. It was a bit of a joke, Onyx. I made it Onyx because it was part rock. And it could hit us 4 times weak. Yeah, we were 4 times weak to rock. But it's also part ground. I should have probably made the rival Omastar or Kabutops there. That was a mistake. Obviously, Aerodactyl would have been no threat either. So one of those two probably would have been better. But it is what it is. I think Articuno would have bossed it anyway. Drill Peck didn't even work, so we did actually start with Drill Peck, I think, or learn it, and because it's part flying, and part flying's kind of bugged a lot in this game. You saw it with fighting sometimes, with ice, with psychic, with ground and flying particularly. A lot of Pokemon would use moves of that type and it just wouldn't work. They'd be typeless. So it's definitely worth consideration. The fact it was 40 minutes slower in game time, but a full minute ahead of total time, it was undisputedly the best. I think if I'm making like a tier list, I wouldn't move flying at all. So yeah, looking through these, I think the rankings are pretty accurate, to be honest. I think Ice was unlucky. I think it probably would have finished at least third. I'd probably rank it ahead of Electric Run. Fire was easily fifth. I think Bug would have shot up to sixth without Rock Tunnel. That would have made up 17 minutes on Blaine. That had already lost 5 minutes due to a mistake by me. But personally, I'd have put Bug at sixth. Given poor RNG, I think I'd have put Fighting above Poison. Although Poison, again, we had the hardest rival and it was the first run. I only started for Ghastly, which still did work, but you know, it wasn't like I started with Gengar. So I think Bug definitely did better, and Fighting. Personally, would have put Poison about 8th. Ghost 9th, that was just unfortunate. Again, on another day, could have done much better. And I feel like the rest of the rankings are about right. Maybe Grass, if it wasn't so unlucky for accuracy and encounters, could have finished 9th on another day. Definitely Rock was the worst, Water was second worst, Ground third worst. They were kind of set apart. Again, with luck, Dragon could have done much better as well. Like I said, for context guys, I'd made a note on here. The last champion's total time was 1 hour 43, which, if you see here, would have put it right there in 6th. The in-game time for last champion was 1 hour 35:17. That was Sabrina's Mewtwo. We had a Mewtwo from the start and ran it. But I have like streamlined a lot since then, to be fair to Mewtwo. I'm sure in this series, if I'd have started with a Mewtwo, because it got Psychic after beating Brock as well, I'd have probably won the whole thing with that Mewtwo. The in-game time of 1 hour 35:17. We actually beat that again. Oh, Fighting even beat that. 6 different Pokemon beat that in-game time. Mewtwo's total time was faster than Poliwrath's this occasion by like 5 minutes, but it would have been like solidly pretty much in 6th place. So that's it anyway, guys, for this whole series. I think next thing I'm going to be doing is Gen 2. Monotype. I think, tell you what, let's do it now. I'm kind of hyped to see. I'm going to see what I'm going to be running next time. In fact, no, I won't. I'll just call it an episode there, guys. We'll see when it comes to it. But I hope you enjoyed the series. I hope you join me for the next one. That I've never really done Gen 2. I've run it a lot in races with Mike and stuff, but I've never actually done like Monotype. So I have no idea how it's going to get going. Definitely like the first handful of runs there will suffer because it needs honing and stuff. It needs streamlining the route. But this run, I feel like on the whole was largely fair chance. RNG helped runs and hurt runs along the way, which we've discussed. But overall, I'm so happy with the times I did. The fact that only 2 runs, I think, Only one run in game times over 2 hours was insane. Every run bar about 3 or 4 with total time was sub 2 hours. It was really high quality, and I might do it again. Might end up doing a series 3 where us Flying and Falconer can defend his crown. But yeah, that was it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what your favourite run was, what your favourite moments were, maybe clutch moments, what your favourite Pokemon was, and let me know what your favourite type was going into this. Did you predict the winner at the start? Because I certainly didn't. And definitely after the Psychic run, I didn't think it could be beaten. But Flying proved clutch and took the gold medal. GG.